After 4 years of careful work, in 2021, art restorers revealed a hidden detail that had been concealed for over 2 centuries in this painting. The artwork is called Girl Reading a Letter at an Open Window, and it was painted by Johannes Vermeer in 1657. In it, Vermeer portrays a young blonde woman reading a letter by the light of an open window. Every detail is breathtaking. The reflection of the girl's face in the window glass, the gathered curtain falling softly behind her. Everything is meticulously composed. It feels like a real space, not just a painting. Like other Baroque masters such as Rembrandt or Velázquez, Vermeer had an extraordinary ability to capture atmosphere. He also managed to bring us both closer to and farther away from the scene. On one hand, we're witnessing an intimate and solitary moment as this young woman reads her letter. On the other, the green curtain on the right edge acts as a reminder. It tells us we're being allowed a privileged look into something that should remain private. If you look closely at the narrow section of wall behind her, you'll notice a shadow, but it doesn't match the open window. Its shape is different, and the window's shadow already appears clearly in a lower position. So where could this mysterious shadow be coming from? This is where the restoration story begins. It had long been suspected that a painting once hung on that wall, later covered up. In 1979, X-rays revealed that something indeed lay beneath the surface. It was a painting of Cupid. The god of love stood with his characteristic bow and magical arrows, along with 2 theatrical masks, which symbolized the essential values of true love, fidelity, and honesty. In 2021, experts confirmed that it was not Vermeer who covered up Cupid. After a delicate restoration process, they managed to recover the painting as it was originally intended. But who would dare alter a masterpiece like this? And more importantly, why would someone want to hide such a crucial detail from Vermeer's work? Vermeer almost never painted something without a deeper meaning. He always included small details in his works that, if we look closely, help us understand what's really happening in the scene. The first thing that stands out is a table covered with a woven rug and a messy fruit bowl. The rug is wrinkled and some pieces of fruit have fallen to the floor. This isn't accidental. It suggests that something has disturbed the calm of the space. In Dutch painting, fruit often carries symbolism beyond its appearance. Fresh fruit can suggest fertility, youth, or desire. But when fruit is in motion or out of place, it usually represents the fleeting nature of life, a reminder that our time in this world is temporary. In this case, the overturned fruit bowl acts as a narrative clue. Something has disrupted the tranquility of the home. The woman holds a letter in her hands, and there's no doubt it brings important news. But what could it be? The open window is a fascinating detail. In the glass, the woman's face is reflected, but partially distorted by the panes. We catch a glimpse of a side of her face that would otherwise remain hidden. It's hard to overstate the brilliance of this part of the painting. Vermeer uses the reflection in the window to express the young woman's inner turmoil, something we can't see directly, but we sense through the distortion. If we step back a little, we notice the red curtain draped across the top edge of the window. It forms a visual counterpoint to the green curtain on the opposite side. These 2 elements create a striking color contrast between left and right. The red of the curtain and the tablecloth versus the yellowish-green tones of the woman's dress and the other curtain. But the red curtain also serves another purpose. Imagine a different setup. If the window were closed and the curtain hung vertically, we would see 2 long curtains framing the scene, creating a symmetrical composition. Instead, Vermeer breaks that potential symmetry by letting the red curtain twist and tangle with the open window. It acts almost like a piece of stage design. It brings to mind Caravaggio's Death of the Virgin, which also features a similar red curtain. There's no evidence Vermeer ever saw Caravaggio's painting, but the comparison helps us see how dramatic emphasis can be created through color and the movement of a rumpled red fabric. As for the letter that captures the young woman's full attention, it's worth noting that in Dutch artistic tradition, letters were often associated with love. As a genre painting, this work aims to show us an everyday moment, something the art-buying public of the time could relate to. These scenes reflected the daily lives and emotional concerns of ordinary people, often centered around relationships and matters of the heart. In 17th century Europe, a letter was a treasured object. It could bring news from a loved one who hadn't been heard from in months. Such letters were typically folded with care, sealed with wax, tied with string, or wrapped in cloth or paper. From this artistic tradition, two main themes emerged. One depicted the anticipation of a love letter's arrival, and the other focused on the reaction to its contents. This painting clearly belongs to the latter. The letter has reached its recipient, and she has stepped closer to the window to read it in the natural light. But what could the letter possibly say? Before we find out, I'd like to remind you that if you'd love to have this painting in your home, now it's possible through our website. If you're as passionate about the world of art as I am, I invite you to check out the link in the description. There you'll find over 500 carefully selected historical artworks so you can start collecting your favorites. Shipping is completely free worldwide, and I can assure you that you'll be getting a piece as close as possible to the original painting. Thanks to your support, I'm able to keep creating videos like this one. Now then, let's continue. What was uncovered during a recent restoration might help us unlock the meaning of the letter in this painting. Art historians have long known that Vermeer originally included another image on the back wall of the room, a painting within the painting. X-ray and infrared scans revealed the figure of Cupid standing triumphantly, arm raised, holding his iconic bow. Until recently, it was believed that Vermeer himself had painted over Cupid, perhaps having second thoughts about the composition. However, further research showed that the pale grey overpaint was actually added several decades after Vermeer's time, likely by another artist. With this new information, the Grimaldi Gallery made the decision to restore the painting according to Vermeer's original vision. The reappearance of Cupid confirms the painting's romantic theme and strongly suggests that the letter the young woman is reading came from a lover. Interestingly, the same Cupid figure appears fully in Lady Standing at a Virginal, another Vermeer painting believed to have been created about a decade later. It's thought that Vermeer's Cupid was inspired by a real painting, which itself traced back to a 1608 emblem book illustrating different mottos about love. In this particular emblem, Cupid holds a small tablet or card, while at his feet lies a discarded mask, symbolizing deception, which is clearly visible in girl reading a letter. In the restored version, Cupid fills the space just above the woman's head, almost like a visual projection of her thoughts. His posture carries symbolic weight. It represents faithfulness and monogamy. A lover should love only one, implying that love should triumph over dishonesty and falsehood. In other words, the letter seems to bring good news. We don't know why Cupid was painted over, but it was likely done to suit the shifting tastes of the art market in later centuries. This leaves us with an important thought. What we can interpret from a work of art depends largely on what is visible to us. With an artist like Vermeer, who so often invited viewers to ponder the thoughts and emotions of his figures, this idea becomes especially meaningful. Cupid offers a key piece of the puzzle, but the woman's fate remains uncertain. That lingering ambiguity is part of what made Vermeer so appealing to his patrons, reflecting the quiet complexities and emotional uncertainties of everyday life. So, what do you think the letter says? Let me know your theory in the comments. I'd love to read your thoughts.